Tell me if this sounds familiar if you're watching this. You and your ex had a fight about something, and now he or she just isn't speaking to you. Well, guess what? That makes co parenting pretty darn hard. If you're trying to get information about the kids and your ex is giving you the silent treatment or is being really mean or just being angry and it's making you feel really uncomfortable in front of the kids, or you just lack information. So, today I want to talk about something that can really help you in those situations. It's called Our Family Wizard. It is a great, great app for co parenting, people who need to co parent. My guest is Tracy Krall. Tracy is a divorce attorney in Phoenix, Arizona, and a judicial education coordinator for Our Family Wizard. And Tracy, doesn't this scenario sound so familiar?
Oh, yes, so familiar. A lot of cases have this exact issue where there's so much vengeance and fighting going on that they just refuse to communicate with each other, even though they have children together.
Right, like we were just saying before we started recording this. We go, "What if your child is with your ex and like when you took him to your ex's house, he wasn't really feeling well." Well, now you kind of want to know what happened at the ex's house and you want to say to your ex like, "Hey, has he been eating? Did he sleep well? Is he feeling better? Does he still have a sore throat?" And your ex might be like, "You know what? Just ask him." Well, maybe the kids too. And
Right.
so it's so frustrating, and I can remember things like that. So, Tracy, tell me how our family wizard can help these and other co-parenting situations.
So, our Family Wizard is a platform designed specifically for divorced and separated parents to communicate. But the beautiful thing about our Family Wizard is we have so many features that the parties don't necessarily have to actually call or even message each other. There are so many other features that they can use to obtain the information they are looking for. For example, we have a calls feature, we have messages feature, but we have a calendar feature, we have expenses, we have a journal feature where you can put notes and photographs. We have an info bank where you can store all kinds of stuff. So the
Like an
whole
info bank, meaning you can store the kids' health records, you can store vital information, their social security card numbers, photos of their birth certificates. Because over the years, you know how many times I've needed that information, and my ex and I have to keep like texting each other asking for it over and over again.
right, yeah, yeah.
Okay, I want to back up for a minute. So, in the case of the child being ill and going to the what are your options on Our Family Wizard that you could use? You could actually video, right? And say like, "Hey,
Mhm.
just wanted you to know Timmy's doing okay. He's better. He doesn't have a fever anymore." You never have to even talk to your ex-wife no matter how much you dislike her. You put it in the app and you're thinking to yourself, "I'm doing this for my child, not for my wife, ex-wife."
Exactly. You can even make a journal entry, say, Johnny's not feeling well, but doing better, eating ice cream, and maybe even a quick photo if someone was nice enough to do that. And then you can always resort to a message, and our message feature kind of combines text messaging and emailing, and it has the tone meter. So I don't know if
All
you're
right, tell the people watching about the tone meter because I think this is kind of funny in a great way, but it is kind of funny. So you type in a message.
Mhm. And so Tone Meter is unique to our Family Wizard. You type in a message, and the tone meter is going to detect any emotionally charged phrases, obviously like curse words, but even snarky comments like, "Are you going to be late as usual?" Things like that. And a little meter will come up and it'll ding red. And so the composer of the message sees that this might not be well received by the co parent, and maybe, just maybe, they should rethink whether or not they should send it. Now, we don't prevent the composer from sending the message, but we do have an indicator that, hey, it might be nice to tone it down.
Okay, Tracy, you know what I love about this? Two things. First of all, everything in Our Family Wizard is court admissible. So both people know going in that a judge could potentially see this and they could get in big trouble if they, say something that is inappropriate. Secondly, the tone meter is such a reminder. It's like, hey, this is a business deal. Do you want to have a good co parenting relationship? We know how you feel about your ex, but you don't have to portray that in the message because it's hurting your kids. And so I think it's really great. I love the tone meter. Now, I want to move on to the expenses because I absolutely love this feature. It might be my favorite feature of Our Family Wizard. So, when I was getting divorced, my ex was paying me child support, and he would get so frustrated and he'd be like, How could you have spent all that money already? How can you say this wasn't enough money? And if I had Our Family Wizard, which allows you to put in every single expense, then the person paying child support can look at that expense and say, wow, the $2,000 I gave went to this, and this. Well, guess what? That equals 2,200. She actually spent $200 more. Now the resentment is gone. The person might be so much more open to giving you more money if you need it. They see that it's going to the kids.
Exactly. You can upload receipts. You can be walking out of a doctor's appointment with your child and upload that invoice right to Our Family Wizard and send it directly to the co-parent, and they know exactly how much they paid for what child and for what ailment, or whatever the case may be. So it's really handy for documentation.
And also, you could be walking out of the doctor's appointment, send over the receipt, and then make a little note and say, like, hey, Johnny got his flu shot, and we did this, and this, and the doctor said he needs more vitamin C or whatever.
Right.
So, I guess the whole takeaway is that having been someone who went through a divorce and had a terrible co parenting relationship for many, many years, and if Our Family Wizard would have been around, I really believe it would have been so much easier. So much more would have been accomplished, and our kids would have been better for it. Because I cringe when I hear people, little kids say, like, Dad told me to tell you this.
Yeah, never
Mom
use
told
the
me she needs the child support check. That is not a good thing,
No,
right?
that's the worst. You never use a child as a conduit to relay messages or hand over a check, or it just makes them feel bad about the situation, and it's not their fault. So Our Family Wizard takes the middleman, meaning the child, out of the equation. Everything's in the app. As you said, everything is documented, everything is court admissible. You can't delete anything, you can't modify anything on our platform. So once it's sent, that's in concrete, and you're gonna, have to live with whatever you sent.
And I think it sort of conditions people, even after you're done using Our Family Wizard. Let's say you use it for a few years and then you don't really need it anymore. I don't
Mhm.
know. What's the average life that people use Our Family Wizard?
3.5 years. So
Wow.
we are
Okay.
training them. Yeah, no, very
Uh-huh.
true. We are training them to proceed forward, as you said earlier, in a more business-like fashion, because there's no conflict in business, or rarely. So we want to have the parents just make it a business transaction going forward. But 3.5 years, and that's kind of what I also love about the company, because we're not trying to capture people for 18 years on this app. We're really just trying to show them, and show them that there's a way to co-parent without hostility and anything that would be harmful to the children. So it's a
Seems
training
like
wheel.
it's really good training.
Yeah, it's training
I
wheel.
mean, really.
Hmm.
So, last words. Any advice for people who are feeling frustrated and thinking my ex is acting like such a little baby? He or she like won't talk to me. It's making co-parenting really, really difficult. What do you say?
Well, I would send over the little video of Our Family Wizard so they can see that there's other features besides just trying to trap them in the tone meter or something like that. But we
Mm-hmm.
have a lot of features, and it's not just for the high conflict families. This
Mm-hmm.
is such a great organizational tool that even moderate, low, or no conflict families would benefit from Our Family Wizard.
Well, I was going to add that you could also tell your lawyer, Can you suggest to my ex's lawyer that we use our family wizard? And let me tell you, this app is not super expensive. It's
Oh,
extremely reasonable. And, maybe you want to say to your lawyer or your mediator, I'd like to suggest that we try this for 6 months and see what happens, or a year, or whatever. And
absolutely.
because coming from a lawyer or a mediator, if an ex is mad at you, they might not if you send them a video, they might say, "Oh, it's coming from her. I hate her." But if
Right.
it's coming from a lawyer or a mediator, now it becomes like part of the divorce package. And I bet you that the spouse ends up really liking communicating that way too.
Oh, really? It really is. It's to the benefit of both parties and parents. It's not one-sided at all. So
Mm.
it's beneficial across the board, court admissible, and yes, tell lawyers, tell mediators. If you're friendly with your spouse or former spouse, send a little video or send them a link as just to check it out because it's really a great platform.
Well, Tracy, thank you so much for being on Divorceapalooza. I really appreciate your time.
Well, thank you very much. I'm really happy to have been on.
And for those watching, if you want to learn more about Our Family Wizard, just go to OurFamilyWizard.com. And you can also find Our Family Wizard in the trusted professional section of Divorced Girl Smiling, which is divorcedgirlsmiling.com.